Spectre of the Gun has long been my favorite original Star Trek episode, not named The City on the Edge of Forever, after sticking their unwelcome noses of Western civilization into a world that prefers to be left alone. Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, and Chekhov found themselves in an unfinished recreation of Tombstone, Arizona in 1881, where they're given the roles of the cowboys, fated to meet the Earps and lose at the gunfight at the OK Corral. Star Trek, the original series, had many episodes that went beyond typical future vision, space travel sci-fi. We've seen crime dramas, court dramas, and even a Halloween episode. Spectre of the Gun is their western. It also had the feel of High Noon, when Kirk and crew kept staring at the clock, hoping to wait out and avoid the sad fate of the Clantons and his cowboys. There were a lot of western tropes there. There's the battle of two gunslingers and the fast draw. Feuding, a love triangle, a corrupt sheriff, even had a saloon complete with a player piano. Instead of going through with another time travel scheme, the episode moves history forward, bringing with it the look, feel, and the danger of the Wild West. It resurrects the famous characters, Wyatt, Morgan, and Virgil Earp, as well as Doc Holliday and even Sheriff Behan. Since they really didn't return to Tombstone in October 1881, the production only had to put up facades and minimal art design, leaving a surreal look blending Western with science fiction. Whether it's deliberate or a result of a limited budget, the episode's set design was dreamy and unreal. The misty background, the alien world sky, made you feel that the crew of the Enterprise was walking through a dream. The town of Tombstone was unfinished. Characters and props seemed to be placed at random. It had a Twilight Zone look and feel. While I'm waiting for the punchline, the final irony, I take particular interest where Johnny Behan is watching Kirk from afar, as if the sheriff had nowhere else to go in this dream. He too is trapped. Many of the guest stars had prior experiences in Western films. Ron Sobel, who played Wyatt Earp, had roles in several television westerns, including Bonanza and Gunslinger, before taking a role in True Grit with John Wayne. Charles Maxwell took the role of Virgil Earp, had several western roles including Rawhide, Branded, and ironically being in 2 episodes of the television series Tombstone Territory. He would go on with parts in Gunsmoke and Bonanza. Rex Holman as Morgan Earp was a veteran in many television episodes, as well as Sam Gilman, who played Doc Holliday, and Bill Zuckert as Sheriff Behan. Bonnie Beecher, who played Sylvia, played in the series Gunsmoke. The next time you watch the episode, notice how the Earps and Doc Holliday almost never blink. They're focused, deliberate, as they were unwilling to go off script. Keeping to the script of a genuine Western period piece, when the story and the budget wouldn't allow it, works in the episode's favor. Kirk tried many times, in fact implored, that it's all a mistake, it's all make-believe. But the stage play, set up by the Melcott, would not go derailed. The set design was incomplete. There were random props placed here and there. It didn't even bother putting the crew in a new wardrobe. They just gave them a 6-shooter and went on their way. It was absurd to expect anyone to take this seriously. No insult to legitimate theater. Screaming out this absurdity instead of just playing along was to the writer's credit. The episode anticipated what you and I would do. We saw this when Kirk took his crew to the edge of town. They can't run away. They can't escape. What if they just stayed away? That didn't work either. One of my favorite scenes was Captain Kirk gets into an argument with the bartender when Kirk couldn't convince him he wasn't Ike Clanton. The clothes, the look, it didn't matter. James T. Kirk was Ike Clanton. Kirk was speaking for the audience, who had raised an eyebrow or two over this farce. But Ed says probably the most poignant lines in the episode. Don't make no difference who I think you are. Your problem is, who does Wyatt Earp think you are? Kirk and his crew felt they couldn't escape their fate. The gunfight at the OK Corral was in their immediate future. Going back to the characters of the make-believe town, no one was going to be derailed from their script. Another way of describing it, no one would change their mind. This theme of stubbornness was first seen with Kirk, when he refused to give up on his invasion of Melkot. The Melkot in Kirk's defense wouldn't budge from their isolation. The theme of sticking to the plan is experienced with many characters. The Earps were intolerant of the Clantons, Sheriff Behan won't help, Ed won't stop believing, the Melkots won't let Kirk leave. Even Sylvia won't give up on having a man no matter what a thief Billy was. When Spock figured out Chekhov's character, Billy Claiborne, survived the gunfight, Kirk realized change was possible, the past and the future. Of course, only if we change our minds, our intellect. This was shown literally through the Vulcan mind meld. The message was that we needed to act more than ourselves, elevating above our natural instinct for preservation and survival, challenging the status quo in its modern culture. If you look at this through a modern lens, and you shouldn't, you'll see the message went deeper. It's not enough to change our hearts, but our thoughts. We must employ right think, with ideas that are morally, socially, and may I dare say, politically correct. Maybe that's a stretch. We wouldn't go that far in real life, would we? The Western gunfight wasn't the only thing the episode referenced from the 19th century. In many ways, Kirk, seeking out the isolated Melkots at all costs, is parallel to Commodore Perry, seeking out the isolated Japanese. Perry threatened war if Japan didn't open up their culture. The Melkots, like Japan, didn't welcome outsiders. He even called Kirk and his kind disease. But like Perry, Captain Kirk pressed on. The needs of the Federation outweighed the privacy of the Melkots. What were your favorite scenes in Spectre of the Gun? Do you think it was a decent period piece episode? Or was it too surreal or too cheap looking? This is Mr. G from Synergy saying, 1 to beam up.